Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balance with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Spreaker, Streaker, and more. Why so many places? Well, I really don't like to wake up first thing in the morning and listen to all of the bad news headlines out there. Instead, I want you to focus on good news, not headlines that if it bleeds, it leads. Instead, heartlines. Anything to talk about that might make you feel a little better and or more better and or happy 88% of the time. That's right. I'm on a happy 88 mission, 88 million more happy people in the next 8 years. And I know I don't count down because this is what I'll be doing for the rest of my life. And so I'm so glad that you're here. They said this would not last more than a year. And we are today, Mondays always is my counter day, 694 consecutive weeks, but who's counting? And so grateful. Just checked, almost at 4 million impressions on the YouTube TV channel. So please free subscribe. Give me the finger, this one, not the other one. And then you'll know, because you'll get an alert every weekday morning to tune in to the show about hope and happiness. And yes, I am your hostess with the mostest. And all week we have guests. On Tuesdays, we have Doctors in the House series with Dr. Tiffany Tate on Wednesdays. We have Throwback Thursdays. We had Brother Ishmael Tute last Thursday, Bob Proctor, and Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith the week before that. And if I remember correctly, it was either Rick O'Berry from The Cove or Don Wells from Gilligan's Island. So we have tons of great, someone called it my show treasure chest. So yeah, that's Thursday. And then Friday we have Straight Talk with either James Hawthorne or Ricky Rebel. And I think it is James's turn, or I can't remember when they switch every other week. And then the irony is neither one of my co-hosts of Straight Talk are actually straight, but we talk about a myriad of topics to help you be happier 88% of the time. So that's it there. I am so glad that you're here on Monday, which is Mental Health Matters Mondays. I started this particular series a few years back when I realized that the good news is people are focused on mental health. Thanks to my honorable moniker, Oprah, who brought the conversation about are you okay to mainstream instead of you're not okay, which Jerry Springer brought to mainstream to balance that out. And I'm so glad that we are talking about mental health. The bad news about that is a lot of people in recognizing their own gaps in mental health were not, I wouldn't say, Tough Love would say they're not taking responsibility for it. Yes, you can go and get diagnosed and then reach out for something to help you with that. But I'm not against drugs. However, if you're taking something that just masks what you're feeling, whether it is legal or illegal, then you're really not dealing with some core things that will come back up and bite you in the assets if you do not deal with them. And that's the part where we can control. in mental health, and that's why I do this particular series on Mondays. And we start every show. I'll give you a hint. Today's Mental Health Matters Mondays topic is, are you naked? Keeping it real versus authentic. Not You're not being yourself. Who are you really? All of those kinds of questions. That's what we're going to deal with today on the show for Mental Health Mondays. All right, now we start every show with breakfast. And if you haven't done this before, welcome to breakfast with me. No calories on this one, but we do start with what are you grateful for, which is the top of the bun. Things that we look around and say, I am grateful for that. And the rule is you can't say friends and family because that's too general. And if you're doing it with me, well, Mondays we have time to do all full 8. And those of you who thought I was Swedish, I'm actually Chinese. And 8 is a lucky number in Chinese. It's a homophone for good fortune. And so that's why I say 8. Bottom of the bun is modeling for you what you do tonight before bed, which is, what are you grateful for inside of yourself, otherwise known as appreciation. So what do you appreciate about who you are? And we're actually going to break that down today for the show when we're looking at authenticity and faking it till you make it, all of that kind of good stuff. But what I want you to do is, before you go to bed tonight, make it a practice, a good life practice, or a hashtag blisscipline, as my big brother Michael Bernard Beckwith will say, to be able to go and really do some weight training. A lot of us were told, you're not all that. Who do you think you are? In Chinese and Japanese, there's a saying, the nail that stands up is hammered down. Not real great incentive to be proud of yourself. And the two are inextricably tied, in my mind, my BS, my belief system, that mental health and how you care for yourself, how you love yourself, how you soothe yourself are all muscles and skills that if you don't practice, you don't feel good about yourself. And when you don't feel good about yourself, you are not in good mental health. And so that's why I ask you to ask yourself, what do you like about yourself? What is good about yourself? And so I'll model that for you. You can do 8 before you go to bed. Start with 1 and build up. I say that all the time. It's not all or nothing, but you can ramp yourself up to that place. And so I like that I can wake up. Some mornings I really don't want to wake up, and I do anyways. And one of the great things about this show is that it forces me to be disciplined around prepping the show the day before or the week before, and then all the things that have to do. It gives me the strength to know that I can do what I set out to do. Not all the time, but at least 88% of the time. And I like that about myself. If I say I'm going to do something, 99% of the time I'm going to do it. I do give myself 1 day off a month. For those of you who think that I do too much, and if I hear one more person say to me, maybe you got the 2 blood clots because you're supposed to just learn how to, slow down. If you're listening, don't say that to me because it will push my button. Because I like the speed at which I was going through life. However, I am forced now. I'm not going to say slow down, but I am given the opportunity to look sideways to see what else there is to do besides going up in a plane. There's something in there for that. I love to make up expressions and sayings and words as well. All right. Another thing that I like about myself is my creativity. I am definitely creative. I love to write. I love to speak. I love to be spoken of. I love to fill that calendar with lots of fun things that are up to me. I like to write music. So I'm going to definitely say that I'm creative. So there's a couple, three things to give you an idea of what I want you to do tonight before you go to bed, instead of thinking about who done me wrong and who's not nice to me and how dare they. If someone treats you badly, you do have a way now to put a review out and then let it go. And this is something that I realized this morning when I woke up. I haven't done that for a place that I used to be at, and I need to do that and then let it go. Otherwise, it sits and gets infected. All right. And that's it for breakfast. Thanks for joining me for breakfast. I hope you continue this good life habit for the next 21, 28, or 30 days, however long you believe makes a good life habit. And you're more than welcome to join me every weekday morning to do this. I start off every show this way, and or not. You can do it at home with your loved ones. I used to do this when my kids were, I would take them to school, and they got in the habit of three gratitudes every morning. And at night, or actually, we put it in the morning on the drive. What do you like about yourself? What do you like about your sister? And what do you like about your mom? So the good news is it gets kids started early, and I credit my kids' uh, good mental health with that. Also, the bad news is for my kids. I would make the kids that we picked up on the way for carpool do the same thing, and they were demoralized. So I'm sure they're in therapy right now, uh, having to undo that. But, anyways, thanks for joining me for breakfast. All right, and now for the topic of the day. That says everything is awesome. The topic is, let's see, sometimes my memory, I have really great memory, but my recall sucks. But all I need to do is pull up my handy dandy topic list, or what I wrote in the promo, which will help. I wrote that fake it till you make it. Be real, be authentic, don't pretend, don't exaggerate, be honest, never lie. Lots of BS belief systems that can threaten your mental health, and certainly part of that is your happiness. So that is the topic for today. And before I forget, the Asian Oprah giveaway every Monday is the audio book copy of this number one Amazon and national best-selling book called, these screens are really funny. Take my advice. I'm not, oh, no, that's the name of the show. 8 Ways to Happiness from Wherever You Are. And so grateful. That's what I've been on tour with. And unfortunately, the world tour got canceled because of the blood clots. But that doesn't mean that I can't do book signings here. In fact, there's one coming up on September the 13th at J&L Jewelers in the traffic circle. So if you understand what the traffic circle means, that means you are in Southern California, near Los Angeles and Long Beach. That's where my next book signing will be on September 13th. Is a Saturday. So please do come. If you have your book from Amazon, come get it signed. Or you can come to the jewelers. It's a $20 donation. Part proceeds go to Habitat for Humanity, which is part of the deal with the book and my publishers, why I picked that publisher. And the audiobook will also be given to you free. But you can get an audiobook today by just going to drmarissa.life. And I have my website pulled up here so you can sort of recognize it. and then you can then you can get the audiobook for free. So that's what's going on September 13th. Come join me. You get to see me in person, take a selfie. We'll have some fun. I'll have my microphone there and do a little sound bite. Same microphone used on John Travolta, Halle Berry, and Quincy Jones. So it's something to come and meet me. I love meeting people. Hashtag accidentally, not accidentally, when I'm out and about and they go, "You look familiar," because I have cameras in my studio, or "Aren't you Dr. Marissa?" What happened in Bonsai Beach in Australia? Someone recognized me from my interview with Halle Berry. So I love meeting people live in person. So you'll get a chance to do that September 13th in Long Beach at J&L Jewelry. All right. Now let's get on to the topic. On a scale of 1 to 10, the real you, would you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being never and 10 being always, 100% of the time, which I hope you don't choose, because that would be nobody is anything 100% of the time. Happy, when people say I'm happy 100% of the time, I go, then I'm talking to a dead person, because sometimes you need contrast. All the time you need contrast. So on a scale to 1 to 10, and I'd like you to close your eyes with me, take a deep breath in through the nose and release through the mouth. What number comes to mind in terms of your ability to be the real you? The real you. Okay, so I'm going to say 8 out of 10, not because 8's my favorite number, meaning good fortune in Chinese, but because 80% of the time, I would say that I am allowed or given permission to, or I feel safe being exactly who I am. So if you're here, I see eyeballs rolling in the studio. We're talking about fake it till you make it, the authentic you. Who are you really? That question leading to either more or less mental health soundness, good mental health versus ill mental health. Who are you really? Is the next question. So, for those of you who know who you are and answered 8, 9, then you don't have to listen to the rest of the show, because that's the goal. I mean, I'd like you to stay, but that is the goal, is to be who you are most of the time in situations, so you don't feel like, one, you're a chameleon, or you're an imposter, or you're not allowed to feel real. And then secondly, it brings to mind, some of you may be saying, well, what is the real me? Like, who am I really at the core of who I am? And that's the question that I want to start with, because you really can't give me the second number. You can't give me the rating of how what percent of the time are you the real you if you don't even know who the real you is. And some of you may say, what do you, that's crazy, Dr. Marissa. Of course I know who I am. I am, I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a consultant, I'm a supervisor, I'm a staff, I'm a director, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, I'm a mother, I'm an aunt, I'm a niece. I know who I am. I am my name. Like, I'm the oldest in this family, in the Pay family. I am. I know who I am. What are you talking about? And that is such a great question, if I do say so myself, that I actually ask this of my guests when we've done the formal introduction, and then I say, I don't have an answering machine. And that was funny in the Dodger game yesterday. And that was also one of my peaks yesterday. I'm grateful that the Dodgers won. I got to go to the game thanks to my co-host James Hawthorne, one of my straight talk co-hosts, and they had one of those. I don't know if it's a throwback segment, but they put an answering machine picture up there and asked some of the players what they thought that was. And it was hilarious because I really do need to change this particular way I use because young people will not know what I'm saying. But I say when you call me, I have not an answering machine, but a questioning machine. And now I just realized that half the people don't even know what an answering machine was, but it works with this particular question. If you get me on the answering machine, it doesn't say, please leave a message. It says, who are you and what do you want? It's a questioning machine. I'm going to have to figure out how to change that so that the millennials and generation alphabet soup may understand what I'm saying. But I do ask you, who are you? And that is an important question if you're going to ask yourself, am I being fake? Because you can be anything if you don't know who you are. But the fake implies that you know that that's not who you are. And in most cases, the word fake has this connotation of pretend, right? It's not real. I'm always amazed when there are products out there, although, I'm guilty of using filter, right? That's the latest thing, filter so that you all your lines and furrows and spots on your face don't show. If I go back in the early days, stuffing your bra, do you remember that? That's definitely dating me because I don't think the generation alphabet end of the alphabet soup actually does that anymore. I don't know. I think they just get like big bras or something. The surgery for implants in your butt, in your cheeks, in your chin, even fake eyelashes, eyelash extensions, the money we spend and the effort we spend to look like someone we're not. I know that when some people who are in the news that have surgery, they don't look like this. I'll just have to say this is half compliment, but Renee Zellweger, I love the way she looked, and I don't know. To me, she doesn't look like her anymore after she got that surgery. But our society and ourselves are just consumed with this desire to look good, but sometimes looking good doesn't. It's like, okay, so you put on fake lashes and you put on you stuff your bra and you wear things that hold things in, and you look good and you attract somebody who thinks you look good. And then if down the line, I'm not talking about one night stands. Well, actually, it does apply too. When you start taking stuff off, that's the real you. And it's almost like false advertising. Why do we do that? Right? So here we go. That is, for me, one of the moose on the table. This is Mo, my original moose. And then Joe is who I got in Canada this last time. He has a parachute. So Mojo, get it? My two mooses on the table, which those of you who are new, I'm not going crazy. I say moose on the table to signify my Canadian-born roots. Instead of saying, oh, we're going to talk about the elephant in the room, we put the moose on the table. All right. So I put that moose on the table. Why do we pretend that we have long lashes or pretend that we have a butt with something that gives us a butt to wear? All of those things to be someone that you're not. And then when the clothes come off, the discovery could be a little jolting. So first half of the show, I talk about keeping it real, what it's like, and then when you pretend to be nice, when you know deep down you're really not nice, and or opposite, you try to be mean when in your heart it comes back and bites you because you're not a mean person, and then you stay up all night thinking about, I shouldn't have said that, or shouldn't have done that, and why did I do that, and all of these ways in which fakeness or not being real hurt us. And then there's the other extreme, that big uh, push to be authentic. You have to be, you're the real you. Be authentic. Say what's on your mind. Don't let people push you around. Don't be a doormat. Don't be wall to wall carpet. Be who you are. Say what you think. And that authenticity sometimes too gets us into trouble. And this is not what I mean when I say be the real you. So, what is the real you? And what part of that do you really want to show the world? Okay, so that's the topic. That's keeping it real. What is real for you? So that's the question I want to start about first. I gave you a whole bunch of adjectives that could describe you. And if I were doing this on a stage right now, I'd ask you to raise your hand. How many of you identify with being a mother? I have. Okay. How many of you identify with being a motivational speaker? Maybe not. How many? Sister, brother, dad, mom. Okay. All of those descriptors, nothing wrong with them, but sometimes we define ourselves by our role and what we do for others. I almost said to others, but for others. And they're called relational definitions of who you are. Nothing wrong with defining yourself as a mom. Nothing wrong with defining yourself as a supervisor or a consultant or any of those things. Nothing wrong with that. But if that is how you know yourself, and it's the only way you know yourself, and you're a perfectionist and you're trying to be the perfect mom or the perfect employee or the perfect whatever that is, fill in the blank, it's exhausting because you will never be. Because you can be a really, really, really beautiful mom and patient and kind and, just like the best mom in the world, except one day you're just tired and something's happened and you're triggered and you over yell. That's my word. I was guilty of that with my girls. I over yelled at them and I didn't feel good in the middle of doing it. And I, I have to cut myself some slack because at least I didn't beat them like I was taught. But I wasn't proud of that. And I'd beat myself up for, I'm a horrible mom. I'm a horrible mom. And that became, such a struggle for me raising my kids because of not understanding that I could be a good mom and that my only job is to do better, a little bit better than my mom did, not perfectly, but just that is a good mom. And so I had to do a lot of work around that definition of who I am. So that happens in everything that is a relational definition. If you're defining yourself, if your whole identity is built around either your job in your role or your role at home, you're going to be in trouble because it's not going to go perfectly. And then more energy comes into being the perfect, whatever it is, outside. And this is how the imposter syndrome happens is you fake it till you make it, and you're fake because you know that you're really not that great of a mom because your voice is saying inside your head, well, they don't see you behind the scenes, and you drive yourself crazy because no matter what you do that makes you a good mom, that critic in your head is going to bring back that memory of something that you did that didn't make you a great mom. And that happens on everything. Great employee, great sister, great, whatever the adjective called the relational definition of who you are. So when I come back, don't go away. When I come back on Mental Health Mondays, we're going to tackle who are you in the core of who you are? And then we can ask the question, are you being who you really are? And that's for Mental Health Mondays. So glad you're here. We'll be right back. We're going to take a break for news, weather, traffic, and a word from our sponsor. Don't go away. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery on the other side said in 2 minutes, but it's peace in and peace out. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa. The morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, home to the Asian Oprah. Number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. And of course, my Show Central, which is my YouTube TV channel. So please do free subscribe. Give me the finger. This one, not the other one. And you'll get an alert to tune in every weekday morning to the show about hope and happiness. And on Mondays, rainy days and Mondays always get me up. Hashtag UP, unlimited possibilities. That's what we cover on Mondays, and how to make ourselves happier, taking responsibility for our birthright to happiness, and stop doing the things that get in the way of our happiness. And certainly keeping it real, fake it till you make it. Does that really make you happy? Imposter syndrome, fake eyelashes, fake butts, fake boobs, all those things, pretending to be someone we're not, a chameleon, all of those ways in which we do that to ourselves. That's what we want to do on Mental Health Mondays, and give you the encouragement. I do to be yourself 80% of the time, but you can't be yourself 80% of the time when you don't even know who you are. So we're starting with that important question before the break. If you missed it, go back and just rewind. That's the beauty of these podcast shows. that I've been bringing you for 695 94 consecutive weeks now. Well, this is show podcast number 1455, but who's counting? You can rewind and listen to it. But the bottom line is who you are, at the core of who you are. If you don't know and you're using your role to do that as a mother or as an employee or whatever it is that you're a daughter or a son, if you're judging yourself by what you do for others as your core, you're going to be in trouble. Because even if you're a great daughter taking care of your mom, and 90% of the time you're really good at it, and one day you snap and say something can't take back, that doesn't make you a bad daughter. It makes you human, makes you real. But if your internal critic, if that critic that constantly picks on you and bashes you for doing something or saying something wrong, then you're not going to have a very good well of mental health. Let's just put it that way. Okay. So what you are, who you are, at the core of who you are, I call them core definitions of who you are, have nothing to do with what you do for other people. Okay. So let's do this again. I had you do it before the break. Gently close your outer eye and take a deep breath in through the nose and release through the mouth. Soft shoulders, soft elbows, soft knees. We're activating our body with our breath. Another deep breath in and releasing all those stories and the drama that is activating your mind with your breath. And finally, last breath. Well, not last breath, but for this exercise, in through the nose and release through the mouth. That is the third activation of your soul. Thank you for that thumbs up or that finger. That third activation of your soul that meets your spirit, that meets the breath. Now you are fully activated. From this place, who are you really? Who are you really? Not in your role, not in the things you do for other people, because that definitely can get you in trouble. But at the core of who you are, let me ask you this. Are you a caring person? Well, yeah, I try to be. No. Not try to be. You don't try to pick up a pencil. You either pick it up or you don't. So are you a caring person? So you can keep your eyes closed if you bring your past. Has anybody ever told you you're caring? My guess would be yes. Somewhere down the line in your life, someone told you you're such a caring person. Now, whether you believe them or not, if your critic was driving your life car, most likely it said, well, yeah, you're caring in this particular instance, but they don't know about that time when I was not caring. That's your critic. But if you have your balance-centered you sitting in your life, in the driver's seat of your life, you're going to say, yeah, most of the time, I'm a caring person. And that's a core quality of who you are that you can claim and use as ammunition for your critic. So this exercise is not just good to define who you are. It's also a good exercise to make sure you know who's driving your life car, because your critic will always come back with a retort that will put you down. And if your critic is driving your life car, it may drive you over a cliff. So what you want to do in life is to make sure you know who's driving in the front seat. Who's in the driver's seat? Is it your critic that's constantly putting you down, or is it your balance-centered self? Everybody has an integrated BSC, balance-centered self. Dr. Marissa, balance-centered self, is driving the car that says, I'm caring, I'm kind most of the time, I'm smart most of the time, I'm funny most of the time, I'm creative most of the time, I'm sensitive most of the time, I can be critical some of the time. So we're not perfect, right? So in this definition, and you'll get this exercise if you go to my website today, Mental Health Matters Mondays, you get a free audiobook copy of my #1 best-selling national bestseller, 8 Ways to Happiness. And that exercise is in the first chapter, because you really cannot be happy unless you know who you are, first and foremost. And you have to be able to say, I know who I am at the core of who I am. And most of the descriptions of who I am are not negative. If you beat yourself up, if you're your own worst enemy, if you can't take a compliment, if you have 99 compliments and focus on that one criticism, you're not as happy as you can be, because your critic is driving your life car. So that was a moose drop right there. That's talking about the elephant in the room. If you are faking being happy, if you're faking, oh, how are you doing? I'm fine. I'm fine. How are you doing? I'm okay. Okay. If you answer either one of those words, my guess is you're not as happy as you can be. All right. I say, when people ask you how are you, I say I'm happy. Why? Even if I'm not happy at that moment, I know that I'm a happy person 88% of the time, because that's my birthright. And I work not hard, but I'm blissiplined. Hashtag blissiplined. I have things that I do to keep me in that state of feeling good. That's all happiness is to me. I feel good in almost every situation that I'm in. And when I don't feel good, I really don't feel good. And I own it, and I feel it fully to the core and to my toes. And then I can move to the other side of that feeling, which is happiness and an addiction to joy. All right. So who are you? If you haven't sat down and listed, I make it in a pie chart. So, I'm most of the time, I am creative. Okay. That's a big block of my pie, who I am pie. Okay. And then I put down, it was like 18 pie pieces. You might want to do this now, or when, if you're driving, don't do it. But it's a good exercise. You can do it as part of the book. There's no excuse not to get the book today. It's free. The audiobook copy is free. Just go to drmarissa.life, put in your email. I promise I don't spam email. I've been saying I need to put out my quarterly since March. So we're in August. I promise I'm going to do it today. But what you want to do is define yourself in the core of who you are. Okay. I've got caring. I've got kind. I've got creative. I've got funny. What do you got? Make sure you put it in the chat if you are not driving and playing along. All right. So once you have done this exercise, then you can stop faking it. Okay. So here's the thing. Fake it till you make it. I understand the original intention of that is, even if you don't feel like you are skilled in something, you fake it, like you say that I'm good at this when you're not good at that, except that when you're tested on it, that may be a little embarrassing. So in looking in the mirror, if you really feel like you're fat and ugly, saying you're beautiful 100 times and faking it until you feel beautiful, it's never worked for me. If it works for you, wonderful. Okay. But there has to be a first core grasp of who you really are, at the core of who you are, before you can actually feel that in a way that isn't faking it. Feel that so you're not an imposter. Feel that so that you can move and groove in this thing called life in a way that feels authentic. Okay. So that is the extreme for people who are not feeling good about themselves. Most often, we don't feel good about ourselves because someone has told us that you got nothing to feel good about. If you grew up like that, like I did, as one of the 7 out of 10 of us who had childhood trauma, this exercise is mandatory if you want to have a happy life. Because if you still have that critic driving your life car with the voices that you grew up with of someone telling you you're not all that, someone telling you that you're good for nothing, you're not going to have a happy life. And it wasn't your fault if someone did that to you. That was totally not your fault. And if they kept doing it and were very horrible to you, I am sorry. I really am. I feel you. And you're not responsible for that. That wasn't true then, but it isn't true now. And the only person that can bring you out of that lie is you. Therapist can't do it. Your person that you're looking for to complete you can't do it. The only person who can turn your belief system about you around is you. The buck stops right over here. So this is the work. This is the work that's in the book. This is the work that I did. I was not in a good place going through that divorce, remembering all the abuse that I did that led to me picking a man who also treated me the same way. Not physically abusive, but emotionally unavailable. Guess what? I picked him. I'll never forget a friend of mine. I was saying, oh, I picked a guy that was emotionally unavailable. And she said very wisely, so when did you figure out he was emotionally available? After you got married? Nope. I knew that way before I got married. I tried to break up with him 6 times. And she looked at me and said, well, then who's really the more emotionally unavailable one? Busted. I picked a man who was emotionally unavailable because I was uncomfortable with being emotionally available. Hello. Because my critic was driving my life car. And I want all of y'all to understand who you really are, because deep, 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 deep down, however you've covered it with layers of doubt, self-doubt, self-sabotage, self-hatred, self-loathing, deep, 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 deep down, and this is your work, is not to drag the things that happened to you in the past, the messages that told you you weren't good enough, into the present and spew it into the future. That is your work. Nobody can fix that except you. Therapists will help you with the road to that. Coaches will help you to the road for that. But if you depend on them to make you feel good, if you are happy when your coach or your therapist says, oh, you're doing such a good job, then you haven't gotten it yet. You got to be able to look at yourself and go, you know what? Good job, mama. I do that to myself. When I do laps in the pool, when I didn't feel like it, or exercise when I don't feel like it, and I do it and I say, good job, mama, right? That's not faking it. That's owning what I did, but I had to do. I love this expression that I can't remember right now, which is, esteem for esteemable acts. That's not faking. You have to do the do, right? In order to feel the feel. Oh, that's a new one. Do the do to feel the feel. If you want more self-esteem, esteemable acts. Don't quit doing things to yourself that don't feel good. If it doesn't feel good to beat yourself up, I don't know one person who says it feels good to beat myself up. Okay. If you're beating yourself up and it doesn't feel good, good. Because it's not supposed to feel good. Quit beating yourself up. Well, I don't know how to do that. Yes, you do. You get in touch. I just gave you the first step. You stop, you do the 3 breath technology, and then you ask for one thing about you that you like. You'll get to 16, and then you balance it out by things that you don't like about yourself. But most people right now, if you're not happy, I guarantee I'll put money on the way you're defining yourself is mostly negative with a few sprinkled positives. If you can't see yourself as most good and a sprinkle of not so good, you're going to have an unhappy life. Sorry, that's just the way it is. So but you have control over this. Can you see yourself? Can you describe yourself not in a role and what you do for others, but who you are at the core of who you are? And I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know who you are. Every single one of us on the planet, all 8 billion now. I've been saying this since we were only 7.3 billion. We are all good. At the very core of who we are, we're good. We do the best that we can. We want to be, as my bonus dad, who's 95, will say, we want to be wanted, needed, and loved. Therefore, we are of value. We can help and care and love, and we are loving. Every single one of us at the core of who you are has that quality. We're all loving. We're all caring. We're all smart. We're all creative. It's not just for dancers and singers. We're all, we have good intentions. We all do. Now, some of us have covered all that up by BS, belief systems that don't let that part of us come to the surface, whatever it was. If you were damaged when you were a kid, you take on this mantle of damage and you bring it into your present. And then hurt people. You do things to others. You're doing the same thing to yourself. You are. I have never said this before. You're proving yourself unworthy. You're proving yourself unlovable. You're proving yourself that you're a horrible person by the things that you do to reinforce that BS belief system that is BS. It's bullshit-talky that you're a horrible person. And therefore, you're not doomed to do horrible things. Yes, you were hurt. Doesn't mean you need to hurt people. And that's that work, right? That in the middle, right? You got to get to the point where you can sit down quietly and be comfortable with yourself not talking and others not talking, or filling up with whatever it is that you're filling up with to try to soothe yourself that is temporary. Food, drugs, shopping, sex, whatever that is, just a temporary soothing of feeling good about yourself. You know, I only feel good when I'm high. I only feel good when I've had that single malt scotch. That was me, right? It drowned out the voices. But wouldn't it be great if you could do the work that you wouldn't need something outside of yourself to feel good about yourself? Well, this is what I have been traveling and trying to share through the book, 8 Ways to Happiness, that you get a free audiobook copy if you go to my website today. It's up there so you can recognize it. Is the work to feel good and stop faking it, to feel good 80% of the time and feel happy. This is the work. You got to be able to get to the bottom of who you are. And what's on the bottom there is not bad. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what was done to you. You are a good, beautiful, loving, lovable, and loved. Not perfect. 80% of the time, I'm fabulous. Thank you for the heart and the thumbs up. Thanks for giving me the finger. That's who we all are. No matter how we're feeling, no matter what the situation is, if we can find that part of us that is truly us, it's the part that you were born with. Babies know how beautiful and wonderful they are. Watch the way they laugh at everything. Watch the way they look at the world. That's who we really are. There's not one baby that's born hurting others. There's not one baby that's born saying you suck. All babies are born with that joie de vivre. That's who we really are. We want to live 88% happy. We want to live 88% who we really are. Creative, caring, loving, innovative, joyful, judgmental some of the time, critical some of the time, impatient some of the time. Those are my 3 downs. And I don't beat myself up about it because I'm not 88% of that all the time. Plus, I know where it came from. I know people who say, I don't know who I am. I just don't want to be my mother. Or I don't want to be my father. Or I don't want to be that person that was so mean. And I say, cut yourself some slack. I don't like the fact that I am impatient and I don't have that P word in my dictionary. But hey, I have genetics from that era. I call it the Tao dynasty. It's not just my mom, but there's a lot of strong, impatient women in my line. And so I did inherit a little. Doesn't mean that defines who I am. And I had a primary role model who was that. So cut myself some slack. Yeah, I have a trigger, and I don't like it. But if I don't fight it and just say, oh, that's my 12%, then I'm not hating myself. Then I'm not blaming myself. Then I'm actually having a happy life. That is the ticket, folks. This is the work. And I hope that you heard some of that and can take it. And there's no excuse. The audiobook is free. Just sign up today. I'll send you the promo codes. You can start doing the work. And I get to read the audiobook, so you'll have my voice in your ear. In the meantime, free subscribe to my YouTube TV channel. I come at you every weekday morning on The Morning Show. Thanks for joining me this morning. The guys at the station just laugh because I can carry the whole show without a guest. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out. World peace through inner peace. Now go and have the best day ever. Dr. Marissa, reporting live out of my living room. I live my life. See you tomorrow.
Take back your life.